It's tough love time for the Arizona Cardinals. See what I did there? Jordan Love is the quarterback for the let's discuss it.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily Arizona Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Cardinals, Alex Clancy here. Follow me on Twitter at Clancy's Corner. Follow the podcast at Locked On AZ Cards. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen, free wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Massive game for the Cardinals in Lambeau on Sunday. Please go to the YouTube channel, search Locked In Arizona Cardinals. Hit the subscribe button, man. Do it. Turn notifications on. Do it. Bacardi and Coke. So, Bacardi and Cola, I think is what it was. Starsky. I'm in a weird mood today. Jordan Love can be had by this defense. We'll discuss that. The running game needs to be the focal point again, but not necessarily in the way that is the dictionary definition of what I just said. I'll discuss that in the second segment, and the things that can't happen. Final segment. So the Cardinals are coming off a big win. It was ugly. They played poorly for a large portion of that game, but when it was necessary, they manned up and took care of business. 3 turnovers by the defense, including the game-clinching one by Kazir White. And I was thinking throughout this week, and I talked to Peter Bukowski from Locked On Packers yesterday. Check that out. That was a fun crossover. It's one of my dear friends in this Locked On group, Locked On family. The Packers are less physical than the Cardinals are now. And I was going back and forth, and I'm like, wait, that can't be right. Because the Cardinals, we know for recent memory, they haven't been known as being hard hitters, heavy hitters, feared for how smashmouth of football they play. It wasn't Cliff Kingsbury's MO. Good, bad, indifferent, doesn't matter. Just wasn't really their thing. And a lot of teams Ravens, Steelers, Lions now, Tampa Bay Bucks when Tom Brady would there are these defenses. They're like, oh yeah, 49ers naturally. It's like, oh man, they're going to be bruising some people on game day. And the Cardinals weren't really like that. Green Bay hasn't really been like that either. I mean, since Clay Matthews has been gone, which is, years ago, doesn't really, they didn't have that real heavy hit. Now they've had some pass rushers there that have been maulers, but still, I feel like the Cardinals have an upper hand, especially on defense, in an effort to punish this high-flying offense at times. It is still a work in progress. They've got young wide receivers, they got young tight ends, and they've got Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is a physical between the tackles runner, but he's not Derrick Henry. And he's been up and down his entire career. The massive year a couple of years ago, and then he's been good this year. He's looked great at times early in the season with bonkers numbers against Indy and Tennessee. But this is the time where the Cardinals go on the road and they hit some people. This is the time where the Cardinals defense goes on the road and makes Jordan Love see ghosts. And what we've seen over the course of this year is a lot of both. A lot of great, a lot of bad. And when it's bad, it's bad. And when it's great, it's great. I mean, this Cardinals team, the defense, blanked the Lions in the second half and the 49ers in the second half. Those aren't bad offenses. Those offenses are used to putting up way more points than 0.5. And the Cardinals defense held their own. They carried the offense. And then the offense, was able to take over and capitalize last week at Levi Stadium against the 49ers. So going into Lambeau, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft. If you're not in the fantasy football circles, those aren't household names yet. Jaden Reed is really starting to become one. Romeo Doubs is kind of not in the picture, but still on the team. Probably won't be playing on Sunday. with Garrett Williams back, with Max Melton starting to come into his own, with Jalen Thompson, Budda Baker, Dadrian Taylor-Demerson, Kazir White, and Mac Wilson, irrespective of the pass rush, they've got some bruisers in their secondary and in the linebacking core that could really disrupt what Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love want to do on Sunday. And this is going to be a statement game for the defense specifically, in my opinion. I think at this point, we know what the offense is. We know it has some lulls, and we know that things are still a work in progress there because plopping Marvin Harrison Jr. into an offense, it's going to take some time to figure out what the balance is. And I'll talk about the run game in the second segment. This is a game that could be a calling card for the season for the Cardinals defense. And I think it will be, regardless of outcome, positive, negative. We've seen this Packers team put up a boatload of points. We've seen it. Jordan Love has special in him, and he's starting to exude it more and more now that he's healthy, now that it's his second full year as a starter. And Matt LaFleur is probably the most underrated head coach that we've seen over the last decade. Just look at the win-loss record. And he had to handle Aaron Rodgers. Should win the Nobel Peace Prize for that. So going into Sunday, this is Jonathan Gannon, Nick Rallis, the young corners, and the linebackers moment. This is the barometer check for the defense this week. On the road, off an impressive second half that resulted in a win against a team who many picked to win the Super Bowl or make the Super Bowl. That was obviously with Jordan Love missing a couple of games. Things shifted a little bit, even though they won games with him gone with Malik Willis. This is a perfect time for these guys to really catch up in the fast lane as rookies and second-year players. Garrett Williams, Max Melton, Dadrian Taylor-Demerson primarily. We'll see what happens with Zaven Collins. We'll see about Dennis Gardeck. Kazir White and Mac Wilson have been great. But the cornerback room, and everydayers, you'll know this. This is your first listen to Locked On Cardinals. Thank you if you're a Packers fan and wanting to do, recon for the opposing team. When it comes to wins and losses for the Cardinals this season, the cornerback room, in my humblest of opinions, has the most direct correlation to wins and losses. And we've seen it so far. Washington blew the roof off. They were able to kind of harness Matthew Stafford, even though Cooper Kupp got hurt midway through the game, and then Puka Nacua didn't play. The cornerback room, if they can take that 0-1 rookie to NFL player jump this season, this defense is going to look wildly different, regardless of what the pass rush looks like. And this is going to be another fantastic test against a wide receiver room that doesn't have a bona fide, in a vacuum dictionary definition of a wide receiver one. Jaden Reed is emerging. He's special. But he's not a traditional wide receiver. They use him in myriad ways. He is the deep ball threat. Christian Watson is always hurt. He's not going to play. Dontavian Wicks was the fantasy football big pickup darling, and then had 2 catches last week, I believe. I think he dropped a touchdown pass. I don't know. I didn't watch the game too closely. I was focusing on other things. But this is a week. This is a game on the road where the Cardinals can make a statement. And it's going to be the defense making the statement or not. And we're going to find out. And the Cardinals are going to win if the defense plays well. They're going to lose if they don't. It's pretty much what it is. The running game needs to set the tone. What do I mean by that? What does Alex mean by that? We'll talk about it next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash, receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month, man. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply for product-specific disclosures. Visit Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Today's episode of Locked On Cardinals is also brought to you by Prize Picks. I love Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. They have 10 million members, man, and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. All you do, you pick 2 to 6 players and more or less than their projected stats. That's it. You can win up to 100 times your cheese. Like, it is so fast. You can do it in under 60 seconds. Quick deposits, super fast withdrawals. Like, Prize Picks allows a streamlined experience when you want to play daily fantasy sports. And it is, it's by far and away my favorite app to use. So sign up today and you get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win the bet. And you get $50 instantly. It's an absolute no-brainer. Download the app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. I've been watching Prison Break. So that little run your game at the end. The main character, first of all, you haven't seen it. Fantastic show. Like, what are we doing here? I had no idea. I knew it would look interesting, and then holy mackerel, great show. But the main character, once he gets, substantiated in the show, he's like Clint Eastwood. So that's why I've watched a lot of episodes. Anyways, Locked On Cardinals, your team every day. Please go to the YouTube channel. So Locked On Arizona Cardinals. Hit the subscribe button. At Clancy's Corner on Twitter. That lower third is wrong. We're getting it updated. Send me a DM on Twitter. I think my account is grandfathered in so people can DM me. But do it. If you have questions, if you want topics discussed, I've had some people that have reached out and they're great information, great questions. Like I got plenty to talk about. It's hard for me to pack all of what I want to say into 28 minutes. So, I'd love to talk about what you'd like to hear if I'm missing something. So please, at Clancy's Corner on Twitter, go leave a review if you want, wherever you listen to your audio, Apple Play, or Apple Podcasts, Google Play. Have some Rams fans, have some Ravens fans who just plummeted my rating. I don't care. I'm just happy that you're here. So a run game needs to set the tone. And what I mean by that is, first off, they need what the Cardinals haven't done yet. It's been clunky. Like we've seen James Conner absolutely eat against Washington. There was that one drive that cut it to 13 where he had, 50 yards rushing or something like that, where they just fed him and they scored a touchdown. And then last week, James Conner ate in the fourth quarter of the game. And what I've been pining for forever since they signed him, because I was looking at it down the road, a couple years down the road, to keep him a Cardinal, a couple years down the road to take that LeGarrette Blount role. And he did that in the fourth quarter, where it's like, okay, game is in the balance. You want to eat clock. You want this to be one of the last possessions, and give it to James Conner. And he just hammers people. So with that, it's been a little clunky early in games, trying to figure out what the path of least resistance is going to be. We saw week 1, they gave him the ball like 9 times in a row. You don't want that, in my opinion. You don't want that. You need to diversify your portfolio, especially early. And with the scripted plays, Drew Petzing's starting to understand what works. And the Cardinals have also scored a touchdown on every opening drive. If they don't on Sunday, it's okay. Like, that's just one of the most anomaly stats this year. Like, it's hard to score touchdowns in the NFL. And the Cardinals have done it 5 straight games on their opening drive, and they're 2-3. So running the running game needs to set the tone in a sense that getting Kyler Murray involved early, rushing the ball. And again, this isn't 12 rushes for 80 yards, and it's the only way the Cardinals are moving the ball down the field. No. We've graduated with Kyler Murray. You don't want him running the ball that much. Now, listen, like if there's, broken plays and he's got some juice and they're in man coverage and he's got some room, of course. But it's like design runs. There were a couple. One went for a touchdown. I think it was also a read there where, Kyler Murray made the right read. He had the block ready on the right side with Elijah Higgins, and he was gone. It doesn't need to be that. It doesn't need to be a home run play. All it needs to be is a reminder that at any point, Kyler Murray will eat you alive with his legs. This is the elevated, graduated version of the offense, and we're in week 6. There are 8, 10, 100 different rungs that they will continue to need to go up. But this is the next one where they did it last week, and they need to figure out what the proper elixir is to keep opposing defenses guessing right away. And as important as the first possession is, it's almost more important with the second possession where you've got your scripted plays, first 15, 20 plays, whatever it may be. The Cardinals have struggled after that first drive. So the first drive, whatever, those are going to be scripted. Drew Petzing's been fantastic. He's 5 for 5. That second drive, keeping the Packers defense on their toes, who've been very opportunistic. I think they scored a touchdown already this year. They're one of the better fantasy football defenses this season. Keeping them on their toes immediately in Lambeau. It's going to be loud. It's going to be very few Cardinals fans there, except for Bird Gang Travel Club. Give them a shout out. They need to figure out which potion is correct for the first couple possessions regarding the run game. And it doesn't need to be they run the ball 70% of the time in the first two drives. It's not the amount. It's how they do it and how they formulate the pass game around it. And this sounds like fluff, but we can agree that the offenses look clunky 40% of the time and then amazing the other 60%. There's not really an in-between. They're still trying to figure out how to use Marvin Harrison Jr. Well, he's a number 4 overall pick. Give him 12 targets. It's not that simple. Sure, they can force the ball to him. Absolutely. That's not going to move the offense. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the 4th most important player on offense in the skill position group so far this year. James Conner, Trey McBride, Michael Wilson. He's a rookie. He's played 5 games. He had the standout game against the Rams. That is Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. just being elite football players on the same team. The rapport isn't there yet. It's slowly but surely getting there. We saw the 4th and 5 where he trusted the rookie to save the Cardinals season in some senses. I'm not being fantastical about this or speaking in platitudes, but it helped. It extended the drive and gave the Cardinals a chance to win, which they did. But having him as part of the offense complicates things, not in the sense that it makes it worse or makes it difficult to run an offense. They just haven't figured out exactly how everything needs to balance. And it's not about getting him his targets at all. He didn't have any targets last year. He had, 5 targets last week? It's not about that at all. It's not about the numbers. It's not about the attention that he's getting. It's none of that. It's figuring out how to balance a run game and the pass game with Trey McBride and Michael Wilson already substantiating themselves as NFL players, playing much more than Marvin Harrison Jr. has. So because that is still somewhat of a work in progress, how the run game is formulated can benefit the clunkiness of the pass game by putting them in a position to succeed. 2nd and 3 instead of 2nd and 10. Running the ball on first down. I wonder if Drew Pett, that's a thing for me, like running it needs to set the tone. They run the ball on first down every play, it seems like. They'll run it, situational play action once in a while after run. But by and large, they run the ball on first down, and it's 2nd and 10. It was against San Francisco. It was against Detroit. It was against Washington. Like, what are we doing here? They're playing Canadian football rules with 3 downs because they're giving first down away. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Drew Petzing with that. Now, if they're able to get some momentum with the pass game, naturally the boxes are going to be lighter, so they'll be able to run the ball on first down with more effectiveness and efficiency. I don't think effectiveness is a word. I don't think effectiveness is a word. Efficiency. That I know that's a word. So the defense just run through. And listen, that's Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rouse. That's coaching. And they're really, really starting to form into some sort of body. We had no idea what the hell it was going to be week one. And then it's starting to see some more consistency, things you can rely upon. Even with, Dadrian Taylor Demerson and Max Melton. Garrett Williams is going to be back and healthy. Like, if this progresses the way that it looks like it's going to, or that it has the last few weeks, we could be going from the Cardinals not having a bona fide CB1 since Patrick Peterson in 2015, 10 years almost, to having one of the scariest secondary in football in 2 drafts. And then running the ball, setting the tone in a way that sets the passing game up for success, because that's what blows the roof off. Keeping defense on their heels with Kyler Murray running the ball. It's just one. It's just one. You just need one. Like, not luckily, by happenstance, he happened to hit pay dirt from 55 yards out with the one play that's going to get the 49ers on their heels on defense. It doesn't have to be that. It could be a tuck and run for 7 yards on first down. It's just this gentle little tap on the shoulder. Hey, Packers defense, Kyler Murray's really good at running the ball. You might want to pay attention to that. Even if they don't do it the rest of the game. The threat of it needs to be shown and just balanced throughout the game. Man, I'm stoked for the Packers. Not because it's the Packers, not because it's Lambeau, because this is, if the Cardinals win this game, 3-3 in the NFC West, when I say that we're going to have different conversations if there's a win or a loss, because every week seems like a chapter in a book and we don't know what the title of the book is or if it's the same series or whatever. It's just, we have no idea what this Cardinals team is yet. Having different conversations are polar opposites. Like, if the Cardinals win on Sunday, it doesn't matter by a point, by 100, doesn't matter. We're going to be having the Cardinals are legitimate conversations, not are they legitimate. I believe in this Cardinals team, this 2-3 Cardinals team, more than I did the 2021 team that started 7-0 and 10-2. Already I do. Mindset, culture, toughness. Let's see if they can roll on and continue the positive momentum on Sunday in Lambeau. The things that can happen. The can happen list. I'm original. We'll do that next. This episode of Locked On Cardinals is brought to you by our friends at, Bank FanDuel. So, first off, America's #1 sports book. And FanDuel's going to set you up with a big return, okay? So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Cardinals are between a 5 and 5.5 point underdog on FanDuel going into Sunday. I don't know. When I talked with Peter Bukowski yesterday, I have no idea what that means. If you like to lay the points for the Packers, if you want to take the points for the Cardinals, you can do both at FanDuel. And it'll give you latest stats, play-by-play, right in the app where you're about to place your wager. So you're more informed than ever. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Yeah, I'm juiced. I am juiced for Sunday. This is when it gets good. It's like, when I'm saying this some from experience and some from what other people tell me, when you start to learn something and you start to study something, whether it be in school, you're learning a new language or something, and your work, you're like, man, I'm just not getting it. It's just, like little things here and there, but it hasn't really come together for me yet. That next step is, this is getting good because I'm not even close to there yet, but I'm starting to know the answers to some questions. That's where we are with the Cardinals right now, where it's like still mystery. anomaly in some sense. The fact that this Cardinals defense blanked the Lions and blanked the 49ers in the second half of 2 games, and they were both one-score games, that's not supposed to happen with this talent on the roster. Without B.J. Ojulari, without Darius Robinson, who's probably not going to play this week. When I'm recording this, he wasn't at practice on Thursday. I'm assuming he's not going to play this week. There's no reason to rush him at this point. He has his whole career with the Cardinals. This is when answers are starting to emerge. Before the season started, I said there's a lot of questions surrounding this team. And they're not the what the hell is this organization doing questions. It's when will this happen? It's not if. It's will Max Melton be ready his rookie year to play meaningful snaps and be schemed around by opposing offenses? Will Garrett Williams emerge as the CB1? Will this pass rush be null and void? Will Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson continue their reign as the most important position group and the most trustworthy position group on defense? All these questions. Will Trey McBride be tight end 1? Will Michael Wilson be a guy or be forgotten? Like, all these questions, we're starting to get the answers. We're starting to get what needs to happen for the Cardinals to win games and what they need to avoid. And it feels good. Because more questions than not, the answers are pretty positive. Like, even though they've looked terrible, they looked terrible against Washington. They looked bad against the Bills for the last 3 quarters. But by and large, they haven't played awful football like for an entire game. Like, there's spurts where it's like barf. And then it's like, oh, well, that was pretty positive. And then, you kind of package it together. We do know what the can't happen list is. Every game it's going to be different. They can't turn the ball over. That's something that Cardinals got so lucky last week. So lucky last week with the blocked kick and the interception immediately following by Kyler Murray. They were moving the ball. The Cardinals are not in a situation, and you can say this about any team, you can't turn the ball over if you want to win. Tell the 49ers that last week. But especially now with how fragile this is still. If there's tip passes that get intercepted, fine. If there's a punch out, fine. Like, it's more interceptions than anything. Like, I don't know how running backs don't fumble the ball every time they touch it. The strength in people's biceps to be able to hold that ball when 280-pound men are trying to punch it out. Like, if there's a peanut punch and it gets punched out, like, okay, listen, fumbles suck. Okay. But it's like, okay. It's very difficult holding on the ball, and James Conner's fantastic at it. Kyler Murray throwing interceptions can't happen. It just can't. Xavier McKinney, safety, came over from the Giants last year, or this year. Was it the Giants last year? Came over. He was the safety that Joshua Dobbs ran over for an angry run for a touchdown, I believe, against the Giants on that 45-yard scamper on the RPO. Kyler Murray can't throw interceptions. Can't happen. Can't sail one across the middle. I'd rather he throw the ball into the dirt than take a shot where, it's not at least a 50-50 ball for a wide receiver. Can't do it. The second thing the Cardinals can't let happen, the things that can't happen, this is the biggest one, and I'm going to take the next 3 minutes and do it because there's only 2 on the list today. They cannot get the Packers into a 3rd and long and let them convert. 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15. We've seen it all year. Started in Buffalo. There were a couple of them. One was due to a terrible makeup, not roughing the passer call, personal foul late hit call when Josh Allen went down. Washington had happened a couple times with Jaden Daniels. The final play, 3rd and 14, I think 3rd and 11 or 3rd and 14 against the Lions when they had no timeouts. It was just a 10-yard in by Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide open, game over. And then a couple times against the 49ers. It's like the Cardinals they play so well during the first 2 downs to get into a favorable 3rd down distance. And they can't get off the damn field. That's the biggest one. That is shooting themselves in the foot when it is still too fragile for that to be able to happen. If the Cardinals can get the Packers to 3rd and 14 and force a coverage sack or, a 5-yard screen pass completion, whatever it is to get off the field, everything changes. The way to win the game against the Packers is for the Cardinals offense to be on the field for 33, 34, 35 plus minutes. They haven't been on the field for over half the game the last couple of weeks. They got lucky last week. Can't happen again in Lambeau on the road in a game that will continue to change the landscape of the Arizona Cardinals season one way or the other. And I can't wait for Sunday. Alex Nancy, Locked on Cardinals. Remember, say it with me now. Without you, there is no me. I'll talk to you Monday.